Hello. Hi. So we want to see how we can use all these other modeling techniques and create some stuff. Basically, I'll just be creating scenes that we will use later. Try to help us in our prime. See, like that scene that we did yesterday, when you put textures, lighting, and camera, also export it as one of your portfolio works, 3D design, as in call it whatever you like, charade of cops or cop cop society. Thank you. That's a nice name. so so just give a name. That means if you are going to call it cop society, you need to add other kinds of cops within the group. Cops that don't have handles, cops that are long, beer kind of cops, and all those kind of things. So you can do that. So if you submit that as a 3D render, it's still accessible as a 3D portfolio. Still acceptable. It doesn't always have to be animation. It could just be completed design. Okay? It's just that when you do animation, you make people believe that you understand 3D more because if it's just design, they'll say probably you just downloaded somebody's something and texturized it, which is the reigning thing now. And like now, 3D has made TJ lose faith. He doesn't even want to hear AI at all. I saw one video of Sora and I was so angry. In fact, no, Sora, no, it's not the same. No, this one that no, not the SpongeBob. This one, there was a guy that created this stupid device that can make him float on water. He wears it on his leg and enter water. So I think it's made out of foam, like kind of thing. So they now showed a Sora video of it and showed somebody jogging on water. I think it looks so real. For the first 5 seconds of the video, I didn't see the logo, so I thought it was actually a real video. Then the logo just came out somewhere, and like, oh god. My first thing entered my mind is TJ should not watch this video. So those guys are just stupid. Anyway, all right. So standard primitives that we've been doing. So basically, you understand that you just create an object, convert it to a polygon, and then play around with it. Um, let's see. The extended primitives are similar. They are all primitives. The concept of a primitive is that it has parametric data that can be used to edit the object. So like now if I create an oil tank, so I'll do a radius and a height. So radius, a height, and then a cap. This is the cap. So that's an oil tank, right? So these are the parametric data. I can use it to um, play around with this stuff. So it's just the same thing with the standard primitives. But a standard primitive is basically something that is common that you see in shapes or in shapes or objects. It's a common identifier, but all these ones are not very common, but they are there. So if you want to edit this guy, obviously you want to convert it to a editable poly so that you can now make something else out of it. Okay, so that is basically how primitives are. That's basically how primitives are. So, so that basically how primitives are. Let me go through input sizes, load the height. So make ring wave, reduce amount of sides. So this ring wave is having um, sides based on like After Effects when you just increasing instead of a polygon, height segments and stuff. So let me turn this guy to edge faces. Ew, so defined. My word. Okay, it has a lot of definition. When if you render this guy, your system will cry. You know, the depth sub div is too much. Okay, so basically that's this objects and primitives. That's how they work. So always make sure you create it first and then you right click and make them polygons. It's easier to play with polygons than with this thing. So we have compound objects. Compound objects don't, let me say, they are not necessarily going to show up because they are not singular. They are not a singularity on their own. They require uh, multiple objects to be merged together. So if you remember, still going back to history, when we are doing Illustrator and you use a Boolean, a Pathfinder, or Solve, or one of the shape builder tools to merge more than one shape, that shape becomes a compound shape, right? And it's compound because it's a combination of multiple stuff. So let's say I have a box like this, okay, and then I have, let's do another box, let's do another box, and put it this way, right? Then I move this box in here. So if I select the both boxes, I can go to my compound objects. Then I can use something here to create a combination of both of them. So it's very, uh, it's not, it's meant to match up multiple objects. So let's see this now. I have this rectangle, I have this rectangle. I want to do something like a boolean, maybe cut a hole through this one. So I select boolean, for instance, and it now is looking for the second operator or the second operand to add to this first one. This is the first operand, the first box I created, box 01. So here I want to add the next operand. So I can do add operand and I select the operand, which is this guy. So it's now added. Then you can see 3ds Max has now merged them together. From here you can see that it's saved as one object right now. So because the option here under the operand is union, so it's different from subtract. Subtract will cut a hole through the first and the second operand. So the second operand, or the one I added, is the one that is used as the defining point. The first one is going to be the main object. Okay, so we have merge and union. Merge and union are, what's the difference between merge and union? You see union, there the outline of the first, I mean of the second rectangle doesn't exist, right? It just shows up there. But with a merge, it shows all the outlines together. All right, the lights, right? I wanted to do it since I forgot. Yeah. So merge and union is like in Illustrator when we use divide and then we used union or unite. So divide will connect them, but it will also leave outlines of the original objects, which is merge here. Union will cut off these lines so that it's only the first object's outline that remains connected with the second object. Intersect will keep whatever was left when the two objects connected and stuff. So attach, insert, and stuff like that. So let's just, so that's operand. Uh, if I had another shape in there, like a sphere, okay, and from here, it's a boolean, and I want to add this operand here. Now the operand is added. It's not connected to the shape, but as far as the software is concerned, it is united with the shape as it has added it. So it doesn't necessarily need to be on the shape to become one singular object. So this is one shape now, even though they are not together, but there is a union relationship between them, as in the software is seeing them as one shape. So that's how these operands work. Okay, that's how these operands work. So if you want to remove an operand, like now I don't want this guy again here, I can just click on it here and remove it. I can click on this box also, that's the second one here, and remove it so that this guy is on his own again, right? So definitely compound objects requires multiple objects to be made. Okay, there's this beautiful one called the terrain. It will come best when I have something like a plane like this. So maybe I give it 10, sorry, 10 by 10, division of 10 by 10. And I can come under compound objects and let me, okay, let me add something else. Let me still add a box. Mm, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so let me this guys. So if I do just blob mesh, for instance, and pick let's see, where is that section? Where are my blobs there? Okay, so this guy will not look very blobby now until I render it. So it will not look very blobby at all. So I render it. So right here, it looks very, I don't know, very weird. Looks like what? Clay. This one, yeah. Mm. Okay, yeah, kind of. A blob object is not really solid. It's like a volumetric object made with gaseous kind of forms. Let me turn this off. Right. Let me just delete them. Right. Right back there. Happy birthday to you. Um, what is that? Following. there's something I want to do here. Okay, no, don't worry. Let me just delete them off. Let me just delete them off. Okay, so let's still joke around. We have particle systems, body objects, um, doors. Now these ones are for architectural design. I think that one I will touch that one separately because there are about four of them that work together, like doors, windows, AC, extended stairs. These ones are primarily for architectural design, and it has all those stuff that are used for buildings. So I think I'm going to work on those ones separately. So I'll I'll still show it, but I'll work on it. Okay, then so these ones are geometric shapes. These ones are normal shapes, just like line, rectangle, circle, ellipse, just like 2D um, shapes. You can use lines. So basically, the context of spline modeling, we can use these ones for that. And under splines, we have NURBS curves, compound shapes, extended splines, Max creation graph. That's 3ds Max's creation graph. There are a lot of objects, but these ones are not 3D objects. These are 2D objects. The circle is just a circle, it's not a sphere. Okay, and the ellipse is a circle that is not perfectly circle. Donut is a donut that is not a circle. I mean, there's not a donut, 3D donuts, it's just two circles that gives that donut shape. Same thing with all these other ones. Even the egg is not like it would draw an egg. Still an egg shape that is egg like Eggman. Control Z. Is there any software that Control Z doesn't work on? If you are still in your drawing mode, you have to come out of your drawing mode now. Control Z to work. Because I can't think there's any software that Control Z doesn't work on. Mm. Mm. Uh, the Control Y option, it's not that it doesn't work. There's another option for that because Control Y is something else on other software and something else on other software. It's just like Control D now, for instance, in Illustrator is to duplicate. Control D in Photoshop is not to duplicate, it's to deselect a layer. And so it's yeah, just basic some basic differences between some of them. There's a redo function. So like for all those other softwares, Control Z undo, Shift Control Z is redo. Shift Control Z is to redo for those softwares that don't use Control Y. For other software like Maya now, Control Z is undo and the reverse. But it also has undo for your viewports as well. In Photoshop, I mean, let's say in Illustrator, the viewport cannot change. Your paper space cannot change. Your paper space is so there's no command for undo of your view or your camera view. But in 3D software like this, there's undo for your camera view. So and that is very different from Control Z. Control Z is only for the objects. So Buriaga. Splines, NURBS curves. NURBS curves are different from these splines. Um, the splines have uh, the lines that are created and the vertices are along the space of the line. But then when we come to NURBS curves, we have point curves and CV curves. So a point curve, let me use the top view. Uh, if you click like this, you see it's just making curves, natural curves, almost like using the curvature pen tool in Illustrator. The CV curve on the other way, if I make the first point, you see how the curve is curving away from where the point is. This CV control vertex curves, so they are not the same as the normal curve, meaning the points here do not exist within the space of the lines, they exist outside of the space of the line. This one, the curves exist within the space of the line there. So the objects are quite different in their use. So if you look at the NURBS curves, so we have the point curve. You can see that the points are right there. So, and then we have this other, our uncle here, that's, and then we have this guy that can use to create NURBS objects. We will do NURBS modeling shortly, but generally that's how they play. So select this guy, curve CV. You see the points are here. So let me just make a straight difference here. If I click on this guy and choose the points, I use my selection tool to pick a point. I can move this point. It's easier to control this point from that point there. But if it's this curve, I use this. This is the point I select, not the curve. The point is outside of the curve. The essence of CV curves is to always make sure that the curves are never too straight. They are always bent for fluidity. So that's what CV curves mean. Control vertex curves. We'll deal with them when we are doing NURBS modeling. Hopefully, if not today, um, I think that seminar is tomorrow. So that means not tomorrow then. So, but you said it's online now. If you want to come, come. But if not, stay at home and watch it. I know you come now. I know you, is it not you? Because me, I will watch it, although it's not for me, but I will watch it so they will say that I did not attend. So like, the compound shapes, we have extended splines and blah blah blah. So generally, this first section creates geometric objects. The second section creates shapes, right? So that's um, the bottom line of what this creating do. These ones create lights. These ones create cameras. We'll get into those ones later. So let's do something here. Which one? Let me see. Let me use I don't know how to use a compound content. All right, let me use it. Let me create a box. Wow. Yeah, right, basically. Or you can just export the OBJ or FBX, but you can't bring in a Max file into Maya. Mm, so sorry, Max file. Mm. Yeah, there is. But the code is the integration is not even just because they are from the same company. It's just because of the structure of the models, so they can work. I think that's why most people don't didn't use Blender in the first place because of that integration of files or objects. Oh, mm, yeah, yeah. You come and pay 300 and something K for 3ds Max on Maya per year. Okay, so so far we've been drawing these objects. Um, huh? um, okay, because you were distracting. As you're talking, you're distracting my mind. Okay, so basically, we've been drawing on, let's say, on the grid, and maybe I want to draw a box, but I don't want to draw it here. I want to draw it attached to another object or something else. I want to choose a specific grid where it should be drawn on. Uh, maybe there's nothing wrong if I draw it here. Now carry my move tool and carry it and attach it to where I want it to do. But there are that ways where you can actually draw on the grid, and that is simply by turning on auto grid. Just like in when I showed in AutoCAD, you can draw something from another grid using the dynamic UCS, where you can draw it flat or stuff. So in 3ds Max, basically, if I draw this box on my perspective view, it will show up. Let me delete it and do it again. If I draw here, it will show up based on how I'm looking at it, based on this view. If I draw it here, this is how it will show. It will show differently. Like, this is the view I'm drawing from. It's not going to draw, it's going to calculate its height based on my front view. So on my perspective view, the height is going that other way. It's not going up because of the view I'm drawing on. If I draw in my left view, it's also different. It will pull towards my left to show height. Yes. Then it's my top view that will draw like my perspective view. So there are times when you are doing design. I think box is not a good concept. Let me use something else. Let me use teapots. That one is easier to see the differences. So draw a teapot. It's facing like this. I come to the left view. I draw my teapot. It's facing like this. I come to my front view. I draw my teapot. It's facing like this. So that is based on the fact that whatever you are drawing 3ds Max, it's concerned or it's more attached to the view, the way the view is, or the view you are drawing the object in. If you want to draw something in 3D, you want to make sure that you are in the correct view of that thing. Otherwise, it will draw some a different way, and you now have to start worrying about rotation or placement. So, but it might be what you want to do when it comes to something like this. So now in this view, I want to draw something, but I want it to be attached to this face. I don't want to have to go to my front view and draw it. I want to draw it on this face here. So I will turn on my auto grid. And with my auto grid on, I see this thing is changing. Notice how it changes based on wherever points of the rectangle I'm drawing. The z-axis is changing. On the top here, z-axis is pointing up. Here, the z-axis is pointing this way. Here, the z-axis is going this way. Meaning if I draw like this, I'm going to create my cube based on that. I can draw another cube or box here and bring this one out. I can draw one here, bring another one out like this, then draw one here, bring one out. So that's what AutoGrid does. It allows you draw as if I drew here and then I switched view and I came and drew here to attach the guy here, and I came here and I drew here to attach this guy here. So it's kind of more more or less the same techniques, but this one makes it easier. Auto grid makes it easier. You just pick the object you want to draw on, and then the object acts like the grid. So primarily what is happening is AutoCAD, I say AutoCAD, what's your name? 3ds Max is looking at all these guys, all these views. As you can see, these are grids. So it is designed to draw whatever is drawing on a grid. So in my front view, the grid is lying down facing me. My left view, the same way, the grid is facing me. In my top view, the grid is facing me. So the closest to the perspective view is my top view because I'm looking down at the grid. But in my front view, it just imagines someone lifted the floor of the earth and stood it in front of me. And that's what I'm seeing as the front. So gravity is now acting in front of me. Same thing with the left view. It's like I'm standing on the left side of something and they lifted the earth on that left side. So gravity is acting in that direction. So that's why when you draw something in any of those views, it comes out very different than if you drew it on the top view. So that's one thing to note if you are making if you have to make some drawings and you want all of them to appear in a certain way, you can draw them from the different views to reduce the amount of movement and rotation that you're going to have to achieve to get certain results down. Okay, so that's auto grid. Um, is that okay? Somehow. I mean, what time do you used to sleep in the night? Hmm? You sleep earlier than 2 a.m. because usually I sleep around that 2 a.m. and wake up by 4. So I'm not sleeping, so don't sleep. So that's auto grid. So if you want to create a design that has some funny stuff like this, you can now put things on top. You can use auto grid and do it. So for instance, you are supposed to design a scene and you have a shelf to make, right? So you draw your shelf more or less like this, okay? And then you switch to auto grid, okay? And you can take your teapot, draw here, draw here. We take a cone, draw here, and draw like this for the first cone. Maybe the second cone you draw this way and open it up like this. So you draw whatever you need to draw, but it will, the central point of which will appear. Okay, this is center. Then the diameter. Yeah. Um, Spaces and shape. Okay, when you connect to shapes and it cuts. Okay, okay. Okay. That one is a compound object. Yeah, yeah, okay. So let's say making a shape and have, let me do auto grid. So let me draw this guy like this. But let me push it inside like this. I'll draw another one. Something deeper. Okay, so I have these two shells, or this two shapes basically. Now let's get the second one. Fully out small like this. Okay, so I select this first one and you go to compound objects and choose a boolean. You want to choose a subtract operand. Okay, then you now select what you want to add that will be subtracted. So I want to add this guy and this guy so I can make those stuff. So the good thing about Booleans objects or stuff is this box O1, the boxes like or the boxes in your Boolean object, the operands based on them, this like these guys, they still have their tendencies. You can still move them. They are not what is it? External thing. They've not been cut off completely. So you can still move around them so that you can get whatever shapes they are looking for. Yeah. Mm. Yes, you bring them in, you import. So you are either importing or you're merging, or you can see here a link to Revit file, a link to an FBX file, or a link to an AutoCAD file. You replace a file that you have brought in already from somewhere. You can bring in shape, you can bring in things, you can download a car. I have a few. One of the most, the first sites I go to is Sketchfab. Mm, but I'll give you guys a list of five to their link. There's free, there's a file called free, is it free CG? VCG free, I can't remember the name again. It has some templates too. Yeah, you when you're downloading the file that you want to use, you have the option. You will see the ones that have textures. So you download the file, download the texture files. Okay. No, no, that one is. Now we'll enter into that. Alright. Nah, that one won't worry because that one's one class on its own. But don't worry, we'll get that. Yes, sir. How do I hold the where? shift. Yeah. Magic. Just like magic. Just appear like magic. So, Bobby boom, bidi bop, boom boom. So, this auto grid for you, you can create stuff with it. Mm, just catch fun in whatever you're doing. All right. So now let's see these architectural objects before I show you how to bring in AutoCAD files. We have under standard primitives, we have the doors, we have windows, AEC extended, that is architectural, engineering, construction, most of all those kind of stuff extended, and then we have stairs. Which one should we start with? Door or AC? AC extended. AC extended, you have fully. I should not try it. Why? Okay, my guy. My system. The system will just show me shaking. Okay, let's say wall. Some wall is sweet to use, but sometimes you have a system like my own in your life, very frustrating. So let me come here. AC. So if you pick a wall, to draw a wall is people just like drawing lines. Um, yeah, either justification or left, center, right, or whatever it is. Basically, like clicking and dragging. So my system is not showing the wall now. Till I come off the drawing, then it will show the wall. So this one is basically based off your graphics card, the quality of your graphics card. So like let me do it again. If I'm drawing now, because of the kind of the graphics card on this system quite low. When you click on wall, you can determine a height and a width of the wall and thickness. So in architectural drawing in walls, by default, usually using units of probably inches. Um, Basic outer walls will be like 300 thereabout thickness. Then the inner walls inside will be 150. So if I want to deal with that, maybe I can say, okay, let's do a width of 150 and leave the height the way it is. So when I draw my wall, just click, 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 click. Once I right click, it comes off. So it makes a wall that has a thickness of 150, a height of 2,438. The wall is drawn just like how I described in the other geometric shapes, the grid that you are drawing on. You won't want to draw it in your front or left view, even though the wall will be hanging in the air that way. So I want your wall to be on the grid. So that's why I use the top view to get a drawing of the wall. The wall is practically rectangles. Yeah, it's practically rectangles. It's just like connected rectangles. So because it's connected rectangles, I have vertices. So I could select um, like these vertices now and use it to adjust the sizing of my wall just to give me those guys there. So that's basically a wall, very straightforward. Just click on the point you want. Make sure you already have the size that you want to make, because when you finish making the wall, to go in and drag manually to a fixed size becomes another issue for you. So you want to make sure you have the size ready before then. Now, same thing with railings. I think we all have one architectural drawing, so we'll create a wall with that. Same thing with railings. Now, railings, Jason, what is a railing? Hmm? Don't that keeps me from falling. So it's like, okay, okay. Wait for this for the explanation. So railings can be made by drawing them or by having a path already existing that you draw them on. So I'm not putting my head on the deck, so I don't see why you are doing that. I don't care if you're sitting or not. I need your eyes here and your hand on your mouse. So when you create a railing, um, um, let me do that. I want to get back into that top. Let me do it on my perspective here. Okay. So you create the railing by clicking to determine a particular length and then raising up to determine a height. That's how you determine a railing. Mm. So it's just a railing stuff. Now, these railings, this is not the finished design, because when you do something like this, you'll be like, that's very bland. It's more like something made of wood. Railings have profiles, so you can change the profile to rounded profiles or square profiles or no profile at all. So that's if you don't want that. So I'm working on the top rail. That's why it's just the top that's going. I can add segments to my railing if I want to. I can respect corners if I want to. I can increase the length if probably when I do it, it was not long enough. I can use the length to increase the length. The depth of, like, this is my top railing now, so I can increase the depth of the top railing or reduce it. Okay, then the width of the top railing now, I can make it longer so that it looks more like those railings or coverets where the top, maybe somewhere here they could put flowers on top of that. Okay, then the lower rails are the ones on the bottom, the one at the bottom, to change that one. So, and then everything else. Then the posts here are the stands. This guy is here standing. These are the posts. So you can turn them to round or you can turn them to square. Then we have the fencing. The fencing is this space in here. So it's a picket fence. You can make it a solid fill to seal it up so that the railing is just a sealed view and stuff. Or you do none. So I just have this guy. So depending on you or on what you are trying to design. So this was a railing that had no path. I didn't create a path. So let's say I had a path already. Let me go into my top view and create a path like this. Let me just create a path. Let me come off this and let me go back to my railing. I can pick a railing path. be this guy and make a railing based on that path. So as it looks like, does it look nice? No, good. This will allow me explain something about polygons that I have talked to you about. Remember when I talked about the line segments? What do they primarily do? Like the more subdivs you have, what does it do to a solid, a sharp-edged object? When you add more lines, what does it do to an object that is very sharp? Yeah, it smoothens it out, makes it more rounded. So right now, how many segments are here? One. That means this guy cannot curve. There's a curve it's supposed to follow. There are posts that are waiting for it to follow the curve, but it can't curve because it has one segment. So for it to curve, I have to increase the amount of segments for it to curve, right? So that's why I said I talked about all the segments before we started. So when you see things like this, you should know why it's behaving in a certain way. So it's behaving like that because of the amount of segments. The more the segments, the rounder it gets. It's just that if it gets too much, then you have a lot of rendering issues because of your system. So you want to have less that. So let me just make uh, 30 segments. Then it's square. You can turn it to round if you like and change any other thing you want. Okay. Then for the fencing, if this is a kind of nice rendering, you want to either make it post-like or you want to do a solid fencing. So depending on what effect you're trying to create, there's a controversy about the wall of China. I'll explain it when I'm offline. But it's not necessarily a controversy. It's actually a reality if you really look at the wall of China. No, it has nothing to do with the movie. Let me not say it. I'm recording. Yeah, after I will say it very briefly. Okay, so we get what we're talking about here, right? So that's railing. So you can create a railing without a path, or you can make a path first and then create a railing and let it follow that path very easily. So this is why one reasons why working with my watch stopped working like how many hours ago? Interesting. 12 hours ago. A few hours ago. So that's for railings. We've done for wall. Foliage is basically plants. So when you click on foliage, you go and get which of them that you want to have in your building, and then you draw it. So you just click on generic oak like this and click. Don't worry, I didn't draw, I just clicked. And I think generic oak is when you click outside, that's when it should look like this. This one, it looks like this. It's trying to save data. If you are doing an architectural building, it will create a very weird looking object until you select it again. Mm. So when it's not selected, it turns like this. This is just for your rendering engine. It's just to make your rendering site. It doesn't kill your system, especially if you are doing a garden scene and you have a lot of trees and grasses. If it has to render every second like this, it will be terrible for you. Okay? if you do the render out, a final render, it won't look terrible like this. Oh, it's missing the map file. Yeah, thank you. Just render it. Yep. So that's foliage. Foliage is foliage. That is trees, plants, flowers, grass, anything, foliage. So you have a setup here. And if these guys are not enough, you can check the plant library. Hmm? You can plant, check a plant library if you have downloads of plants that you have used, or from the AutoCAD, Autodesk library, you can bring in plants and check there. So, I like this Japanese flowering cherry. It's always very, it's always very nice, very beautiful. Let me see what I have the material for this guy. Yin guy. He doesn't have materials. I have to go and look for it. A texture file is missing. Texture files are missing. These TGA files, as in wherever they are stored, it's not wherever this is stored. So it's you need to go and look for where the file paths are, and you're gonna start looking for it. So if you know where they are, you will find them. So let me just leave that at that. Hey. All right, so that's AEC extended. If you live in this street, there are people you will meet. Oh, you will say hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. Any questions on those guys so far? Mm. Mm. Yep, yep. All right. So that's, yeah, blocks. All right, then we have, let's do stairs. We have four types of stairs: L type, U type, spiral, and straight. Straight stairs, click drag to create, click drag to create width, then click up to go back. So you have the staircase. And in your setup, you can now change how the staircase looks like. So right now, this is like all those stadium staircases. Now, you can add stringers. There are no stringers here right now, but you can add stringers to your staircase, and that is this guys here. You could add stringers and turn it off. The staircase is open. You can see through that, like all those high school movies when somebody's climbing there. You see the evil thing is looking down at the person's leg as it's coming, about to grab his leg. So you can close it so that it doesn't kill anybody. So close the staircase so that he doesn't see it. This now looks weird enough, so you can make it a box so that it's box like. Okay. It's like stairways to success. Okay. Then, if you like, you can create a handrail. Maybe when you put your stringers, you can create a handrail for left and right. As I will adjust or follow the staircase and create. There's no rail path, so no need. But right. So that is straight stairs, very straight and very straightforward. If you want, you can put a carriage. If or adjust the carriage, you want to adjust your railings. If you add, like I said, your handrails, basically you can come and adjust your railings. So all those roundness will bring your railing and stuff. But if you don't have a railing option, there's no point going to adjust these guys. Okay. Right? Are we good? What it is. Okay. Thank God for your life. The L-type stair creates an L-shaped stair. How many of us have seen an L-shaped stair? Okay. You know what an L-shaped stair is? Mike, do you know what an L-shaped stair is? You know what an L-shaped stair is? Mm. It's L-shaped, basically. It's shaped like the letter L. So L shaped stair creates a shape, creates a second, and then creates this guy here. I think I should draw it again. Hmm? So these are now shapes there. For L like a legend. L like a legend. Like a legend. Like a legend. So um, yeah. Then you can go into your setup and do whatever I like. Adjust the parameters. Um, change the angle of its stairs. Change the offset for the guys and stuff. Yeah. Okay. So. No, all right. Then we have U types there. You will create a U types there. Let's see. U type. So we now need to add some stuff to these guys. Um, there it is. So you can make as many adjustments as you want to whatever shapes that you have, climb up and climb and all this stuff. So that's a use step. This our plaza uses a use step. It's a use step. Is it painful? It's not painful because that's not what makes it painful. Why you why you wicked? Why you wicked in the stuff? This spiral staircase. Do you think it's easier to climb this kind of staircase? This kind of staircase, I used to see them in the south a lot. They are always and they are always for some reason outside the house. As in, stairs are so weird. so so same thing. You can still come and start changing up some stuff in the design and all this other guys. So so it helps you build all this kind of architectural design and you said all right doors have two three kinds. We have pivot doors like this one. We have sliding doors like those ones in some plazas. So you slide open and close, and then you have the bifold doors. Those ones very common in wardrobe kind of setup. So pivot doors. Um, you draw, and you draw. Your door is here. So this is the length of your wall. So you first draw the length of the door. You draw the length of the wall where the door is hanging in. Then you draw the height of the door. Okay. So this kind of doors in those kind of security places where you pass through somewhere longer. But in this kind of building, it's more of a smaller door. So this is the trick about doors. Doors are quite interesting. Quite interesting, guys. It's a pivot or pivot door, right? So under my modify, I can make double of it or make it simple. I can flip the swing so that it's on the other side or flip it back. I can flip the hinge so that it's on the left or on the right. But this is the trick here, the opening of the door. So you can actually open the door. Okay. So if you flip the hinge, you can flip the hinge to open from the other side or this way. So that's the door. Then set up all the other parameters. Okay. So right now, I think this door is set for uh, yeah, okay. All right. So that's the pivot door. It's just like this normal door that is pivoted. That's it's hinged to one edge. Sliding doors are doors that slide. So mm, the opening of this door is a slide. So it's just a slide. It's not. It's a sliding door. sliding, and there's a biped. So we have bifold doors. So what's the process of creating a door? I want to draw a bifold door. What's the process of drawing a door? It's the same thing, but what's the process? I want to be sure. Obviously, but how many click and drag, and what am I clicking and dragging first? Mm-mm. Silence. This was the process of. I think what's the process of? I've clicked on the door. What's the process of making the door? Like here, what am I dragging first? Because there are three. Good. And yeah, I'm on bifold now. So whether it's pivot sliding or the bifold. So how do I drag? What do I drag first? Yeah, you drag out the width, like Jason was saying. And I was hearing him, but he was talking. And then you determine the depth. It's not the pressing and the dragging. The question was, what are you dragging first? Is it width? Is it depth? Is it length or height? Because that's important. It doesn't know you can try creating a door and you end up creating a cupboard. So once you determine the depth, then you can now determine how high it is. So always width, depth, height when it comes to doors. Same thing with windows, width, depth, height. So when we're drawing the box too, was that not the same process? Not really. For a circle and rest is not. It's just for cylinders, cones, pyramids also. No, that was used radius. So this is a bifold door. The bifold door, the opening of it is folding. It's not sliding. It's more like folding. Yeah, yeah. Okay, if you say so. Spinning. No, no, that one, okay, that will open then close and open here then you pass. Okay, those four type of. Okay, 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 okay. So those down. You can make those ones. Let me see. These are WCH doors, right? So we don't have to make double doors. You have normal doubles, but you can't really swing them like way unless you change. Because those ones have a hinge and then all the doors are connected. Those was where it's four now. You can walk in. That's why I said there's a hinge in the center. Then it now has four connections and then you go. So it's a hinge door but having four sections. So you can. Why? Why? Mm. Yeah, sorry, sorry, So these are those. So okay, let me quickly show windows. Windows are similar. We have a whole lot more windows, but one, you know, I know we're looking. 500. Fine. So windows are similar. We have awning, placement, fixed, pivoted, projected, sliding. So dun, 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 dun. Okay, so this is a window, an awning window. Not an awning window. You can browse. Awning, awning, awning. Just like these guys. So it's an awning window. You know what an awning window is? See beside you. Yeah. So they can open like this. No, don't worry, this one they didn't do it that way. But you can open it like this. So generally that one. Casement windows, similar thing. This is how you open it. Hmm? Awning, you swing from this point, either at the top or the bottom. Casement is like hinge doors on the left or the right. Fixed windows with, okay, these ones are fixed because they don't have open. So it's just like this. So if you are building a architectural drawing that has fixed windows, you use fixed windows. Is there something? Uh, yeah. What do you want me to say? Oh yeah. Then we have pivoted windows or pivoted windows. So this is how they open. If you like, you can make two or double of it, and that will make it have two openings, open both ways. We have projected windows. But let me show these guys around. You say what? You say what? Think of what? Can change panels. All right. Chun, 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 chun. Chun, 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 chun. Hmm. Why we here? This is this is this is access control, and you're telling him to, he can just lock you out of the class now. All right. So and then we have, okay. I've done projected. One, two, three, four. Have we? No, not done projected. So projected windows, and I have the sliding windows. All right. So looking at all of them from their reason to open a sliding window, those kind of windows that slide. Projected windows are those ones that's project on the way out of Nigeria. Barbie girl. Huh? Which one? This one. This one. This one. Don't I sliding window? Why? Okay, so those are windows. You can set them up anyhow you like and adjust. So one of the exercise files I'm going to use is one of the files I gave us. It's a it's a 3D. Uh, as it's a 3D, it's an architectural drawing, a house. So let me import it. Um, Let me see. Mm, no, it's not here. Back. Let me just open it. House and it. Uh, all right. Okay, so this is already an existing plan that's just constructed for architectural elevation. So drawn in AutoCAD, brought in here. So these are the individual stuff that was created from this. And so for us, your work will be to put the doors in their places, put the windows in their places, put the railing and the chairs and all those kind of stuff. So let me start with the railing now, for instance. So this is the railing. So come to your AC extended railing. You pick a railing path. This is the railing path. Okay. And based on the setup I've done already, it already has the round. So if I don't want, I can make the pickets here. I can make it to be a solid fill. Okay. I can increase the height of that. So my top rail, I can make the width longer and increase the height so that it looks more aligned to what I want to do before. Okay. Then for the door, I can go into doors. Now this is the door, right? So I can do the door from one of these views. In architectural drawing, you keep spaces like this for doors and windows that you know where the door is starting from. So these are windows, this is the doors knob. So the first thing that we draw with a door is what? The width first, right? Then the depth and then the height. So when you click, you observe also from here and from here. So let's say you click and drag out your width, okay, your depth, and then your height, you drag up. So, so my mouse will bring me. So don't worry, wherever I reach it, I'll stop and I'll continue with increasing the height from here up to here. So that is my door right there. Okay. So the height is too much, you can bring it down. But to make it, let it go into the wall. Right. So you can grow those. Okay. And you now have that drawing of your door. Right? Simple, right? Same thing with windows too. You do the same thing for the windows. So we have this file. Everybody has this file. So play around with it. Try and bring out, put the doors, put the windows. You can create a small table shelf here and put this in the living room. You can create some things. In the living room, there's kitchen, the bedrooms. Create some things and put around. Create a door. So um, take the weekend out to mess around with it. Okay, let me quickly do something that um Alex, you said you were doing texture on something. Mm. Material file is simply press M on your keyboard. You press M. Mhm. So it has no, it might look like this. It might look like a slate. So, one of the best materials to use is use a use a physical material or a soft any surface. Okay, let's like create a physical material now. Um, 3ds Max uses nodes to add materials. Uses nodes like this. So this base color and weight map. That's primarily the color of the object of the material you're going to use. So if you choose a color, if you want to add a texture, you click on this. So you can now look for texture maps. If it's a picture of yours from your own system, pictures are bitmaps. So you use a bitmap to look for it. Then you go see your documents and then find it out. So, but if it's a normal texture, so that's the wood material there. So that's basically so. Now this material selected, I mean this object selected, the wood is there. So you assign it to the material. If it's not selected, you can drag, but mostly you want to select it first, select the material, then assign it to the selection, and then it's there. Right.